You know, one of your stories I like the most, and I think that people can relate to, you had this period of time where you just moved from, I think, because you moved from Brisbane to London to the States, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this period of time where you were in a hostel in Redondo, was it, or Hermosa?
Hermosa Beach, yeah.
So Hermosa Beach is it's in California here, and James had just moved to the States, and you were, because you made it sound really, people fucking hate when you're like, oh, I just moved here, I started interviewing celebrities, and then everything was good. I started a PR company, we made a couple $1 million, then I was real sick of that, so I went to Argentina. People don't relate to that shit. Like, I want to know about the nitty gritty struggle. You were in the hostel, and things weren't working. What was going on with that?
So yeah, you want to know the struggle.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me tell you. The struggle started about a month before I left London when my girlfriend broke up with me.
Oh, okay.
And that was really the trigger and the catalyst for me to come to America in the first place.
This is what we want with you. Give us the emotion.
Anyway, I had to get out of London. I was like, oh man, I'm so depressed over this girl. So I flew to Los Angeles on September 30th, 2002.
You remember it.
I do remember it because it was the Australian Rules Grand Final night, the Australian Football League Grand Final night. And I flew in and I went to the Cock and Bull pub on Lincoln down there in Santa Monica.
I know exactly where that is.
And I went in, it was full of Australians, right? Because they're all Australian expats in Los Angeles, all watching this Australian.
I pass it every day.
Yeah. And I went in there and I just made some new friends, Aussie friends. And these two guys said, oh, there's a party down in Hermosa Beach tomorrow. You should come down. I said, okay. Now, that night I was sleeping in the Santa Monica hostel, paying $15 a night. Anyway, I went down to Hermosa Beach. It's about 40 minutes south of Los Angeles Airport. I checked into the Surf City Hostel, which is right on Pier Avenue there on the beach. And I went into a bunk bed with 6 other snoring backpackers from around the world, where I lived for the next 90 days and 90 nights, paying $15 a night.
That's a long time.
I worked on a job site up in Bel Air with these Australians who paid me $75 cash a day. And during that time, I was like, how the hell am I going to live in this country long term? Like, how am I going to make this happen? So what I figured out was I'd been a journalist, I'd been a reporter. Hollywood and Los Angeles is where all the celebrities are. Let's figure out a way that I can interview movie stars and make a living from it. So what I did was I reached out to all these movie studios, Sony Pictures, Fox, Warner Brothers, and I just cold called them. Literally just cold called them and said, hey, I'm a journalist. I want to come and interview movie stars. How do I do it? One publicist from Sony Pictures returned my call and invited me to come in to the studio.
That's super rare.
Very rare. And meet with her. Her name was Anna Whelan in the publicity department. I went in there and she told me how it all works. She told me you need to get a magazine who'll publish your story. You need to prove that you'll be able to get lots of readers who'll read the interview. This is how it works. And I went, great. So anyway, 2 weeks later, I'm come back from my job site. I'm all dusty and dirty from working on the job site. I'm in the hostel foyer and there's an internet machine, and it's one of those old machines where you stick $1 in and it gives you 7 minutes of internet time. Do you remember this? This is like 2002.
Not that long ago, actually.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yes.
And I get an email from this woman, Anna at Sony Pictures, and she says, "Hi James, it's Anna. We met 2 weeks ago. I've got an opportunity for you to interview Jack Nicholson next week for the movie Anger Management. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'd be interested." And 2 weeks later, literally, I went from the job site in Bel Air. I borrowed the construction van from my colleague, drove down to the Armitage Hotel in Beverly Hills on Burton Way. I went into the bathroom in the foyer level. I sort of splashed some water on, put a nice shirt on and some other pants. Went up to the penthouse suite and I sat down with Jack Nicholson for 20 minutes and interviewed him about his life, his career. And it was amazing. And that was the beginning of me interviewing movie stars for about the next 6 years.
That's amazing. The thing I like about that is that, obviously, I mean, you didn't even have family here. So what that kind of says to me is that all of us have the opportunity to have a sort of like a lucky break. Mm-hmm. It's not like because when you talk about your success now, people will say, "Well, yeah, but he had all these things preceding it that makes it easier for him." But even in the beginning, if you really assert yourself, you can make your own luck in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it was, I want to live in this country. I've got to find the way. I'm not waiting around for something to happen. I'm going to make this happen. So I literally just how can I do this? Where do I start? Okay, I'm going to start by making a plan. I'm going to call Fox, Sony, Warner Brothers, Universal, DreamWorks, and I'm just going to call and say, who do I talk to about this?
Yeah.
Wait for someone to put you through. Try and convince the other person on the line. One person called me back, Sony Pictures.
That's all it took.
That's all it took.
Yeah.
And then because I managed to get that interview with Jack Nicholson, I had to wait. I had to do the interview, had to type it up. I had to send it off to this magazine in England called Loaded Magazine, which is kind of like a British version of Maxim, if you like, right? I had to wait 2 months for them to actually publish the article. And then I had to wait another month for them to send the magazine to me in Los Angeles so I could then walk it up to the Kinko's on Pacific Coast Highway, photocopy it 20 times, and then send it out to the studios that did not return my call, Fox, Warner Brothers, Universal, and say, hey, I interviewed Jack Nicholson for Sony Pictures. Here's my article. Would you like me to interview your stars and promote your movies? Next thing I know, I've got Universal on the phone saying, hey, would you like to interview Arnold Schwarzenegger for Terminator 3, which was his final movie that he did before he became the governor. Then I had that published. Then it was like, oh, can you interview Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston for the movie Along Came Polly? And then it just kind of snowballed from there. Now, I was still doing the construction work for $75 cash a day for like 3, 4, 5 months after I did that, until that time where I started to get paid, I started to get the ball rolling. Then I said, I'm not going up to Bel Air to do that crap anymore. Now I'm going to do this. And then I became, a full-time celebrity interviewer.
That's so cool, because I think that it's easy to underestimate the power of having one connection. We were talking earlier before we started shooting about me doing this whole book deal thing. And even in that experience, it's been just 1 or 2 key connections that have led from me having no influence or anything to me getting a 6-figure book deal.
Yeah.
It's like 1 or 2 key conversations.
Yeah.
You don't need to have like a network of a bunch of shitty people. You just need like 1 or 2 good people in your network.
You really do. I mean, it's good to go out there and I don't like the word network. I like the word connect. Like I like to go out there and connect. It's good to connect with a lot of people, but the quality or the caliber of the conversation or the relationship you have is far superior to knowing just a lot of people, And here's the other thing. The person who ultimately leads to the breakthrough, for the most part, isn't a really close friend or someone you've got an amazing relationship with. A lot of times it's just an acquaintance.
Yeah.
It's someone that you just had good rapport with on one occasion.
Yeah.
Someone liked you. You got into a conversation for 5, 10 minutes, maybe an hour, whatever. And then you called them up and said, hey, I remember you were working in book publishing. Who was that literary agent that you worked with? Oh, Christy, you should talk to Christy. I'll connect you. Thank you so much. That'd be great. How can I help you? Well, you know what? I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight at the moment, as an example. Oh, you know what? My friend Mark Dahmer, has this amazing program. I should connect you with him. Maybe you'd be interested in that. Thank you so much. The rule of reciprocity comes in, right? One thing we know about human psychology is that, when someone does a favor for someone, we instinctively want to do the favor back for that person.
Absolutely.
So in anything in life, it doesn't mean that you need to know 100 people to get ahead. You only need to know one person. As long as you are genuine and you're connecting with that person and you're trying to help that other person, they're always going to want to help you. And that's where you'll get the breakthrough.